communication, its niches and perspectives.
Communication is a very interesting topic that I am about to discuss in today's vlog. It is defined by Wood 2011 as a systemic process in which people interact with and through symbols to create and interpret meanings. To further understand communication, I'll be discussing its natures. First, it is systemic, wherein it exists within various systems and all of its parts are interrelated with one another. Second, it is a process. Interactive model of communication says that it is a two-way process where the sender sends the message through a channel and the receiver will receive it and will eventually give a feedback. Third, it involves communicators, or it happens between two or more people. However, we must realize that aside from interpersonal, group, public, and mass communication, there is intrapersonal communication, or the communication that exists within oneself. Fourth, it is proactive, in a way that as the sender sends the message, the receiver will evaluate the message content and purpose as well as the speaker's credibility. Fifth and sixth, it is symbolic and it can be expressed through actions or words or both at the same time. Seventh, in communication, meaning is individually construed. Eighth nature of communication is that it is irreversible. When an action or a word has been done or uttered, it cannot be undone anymore, thus making it irrevocable. With this, we must always be careful and wise in dealing with communication.
Critical perspectives in communication.
So now, we are going to talk about the changing landscape of communication. First, let's determine the difference between orality and literacy. According to Walter Ong, orality involves oral communication for all interaction. During this time, there was no recorded data or evidence, and all information and knowledge are passed down to the next generation through oral practices like epics, folk stories, and rituals. On the other hand, literacy existed when writing started during the 3400 BC. So now, we'll take a glimpse on the eras of communication. These are tribal, literate, print, electronic, and digital era. In the tribal era, members of society imitate their surroundings and they communicate with one another through pre-verbal communications such as gestures, screams, tactile, and acoustic. While during the literate era, different symbols are utilized to communicate. During this time, learning was facilitated visually and orally. Take note that the earliest recorded form of writing is the cuneiform script, while the petroglyphs and the invention of alphabet also started in literate era. Moving on to print epoch, or a revolutionary era dubbed as the Gutenberg Galaxy, because ideas were scattered during this time through Gutenberg's invention of a commercialized printing machine. Next is the electronic epoch. It is an era when information are disseminated quicker, wider, and more efficient through the use of mass media like telegraph, TV, and radio. Lastly is the digital era, or the consolidation of written, print, and electronic means of communication. During this time, each part of the world is connected to one another, and the transmission and feedback is much quicker, making communication efficient but problematic. It changed human behavior, and intercultural communication issues like stereotyping, ethnocentrism, prejudice, and discrimination developed during this setting. So now, we'll move on to the blurring of genres, or the convergence of media. Let's start with traditional media, also known as the folk media. Traditional media is an indigenous way of communication that uses vocal, verbal, musical, and visual folk arts. It serves purposes like entertainment and sharing of knowledge within a community. The other one is the new media, which implies online medium and the extensiveness of internet and technology for communication. It is also known as the digital media that promotes two-way communication through the internet and technology. Because of it, we now have forums and chat rooms, email, social networking sites, online games, blogs, online news outlets, and many more. The last media to be discussed is the out there new media, or the digital posters and digital billboards displayed in public places, either to inform or to advertise. So the blurring of genres or convergence of media in communication is all about the union of traditional and new media. So in this vlog, we are now going to talk about the scope and the importance of communication to our daily lives. Since time immemorial, communication has always been important for everyone. As social beings, we use it to meet our physical, relational, instrumental, and identity needs. We also use communication to express our identities. Also, it is being utilized to develop who we are because it allows us to interact with one another. Furthermore, there is this thing called representation, or the use of signs and symbols to stand for our concepts, feelings, and ideas. The use of representation in communication is crucial for us to be critical thinkers and to be aware of the things that are happening around us. Just for example, when we see or hear something in the media or in the news, we are able to connect them to real-life situations because representation in communication is the reflection of reality. Moving on, culture builds, affects, and shapes communication in all aspects. Cultural values and beliefs are the foundations of one's behavior and their expression of their perception of the world. In exchange, we use communication to either define or conform to the traditions and cultures present in our society. Truly, culture is communication because culture speaks through communication and communication is utilized to create culture. While there are unfathomable numbers of cultures across the globe, intercultural communication plays an important role in creating unity beyond diversity because it transcends overall limitations and it connects us from one another. Truly, it is a must for everyone to be careful, mindful, and respectful each time we engage in communication. We must always choose to take a positive outlook towards our difference, and we must always choose to embrace unity beyond diversity for us to achieve a better society. This is Angelica Gopino, and thank you so much for watching.